Good evening, everybody.
Okay, if we could have your attention.
Say something first.
Thank you all for coming. There's two sign-up sheets, one for me for the Sunnyside Neighborhood Association. I'm the person that sends out emails to you. And the other one is the one for them, the staff here tonight. And the reason is so you can get updates from them. And it'll be going around. If you don't see it later on, you can just ask for it.
All right.
Introduce yourself.
Very well, yes. Again, thank you all so much for coming out. Better turnout than I expected on a nice summer evening. So appreciate you all taking the time to be curious enough to come out. I know for some of you have probably followed the project for the last couple of 3 years, which is great. We have a special guest tonight. Our mayor has joined us, so thank you for being here. How strange about there, right through there. You haven't been here before. I think this is the first time you've been in this facility. So, and we've got, you have come some light snacks and refreshments back there. Feel free to wander back. My name is Jason Olson. I'm a licensed architect, and I'm with the City of Vancouver, and I'm the capital projects manager. So I'm kind of leading the project for the city. I've got some folks here tonight with our contractor, and then Tim Bucks, our operations manager for public works. I'll let them introduce themselves as well. But let's see, anything else? Right there.
Good evening, I'm Derek Bork with Skanska. We're the general contractors, so we'll be managing construction and overseeing construction of the project, and happy to be here.
And as Jason said, I'm Tim Buck, the operations division manager for public works in the City of Vancouver. And this will have our maintenance divisions within the city. So Tim's got 30 years at the city, so he has lots of institutional knowledge and background on public works and his current facility, which I'll talk a little bit about in a minute, and then kind of the why we're moving to this site. And then we have William with our communications department, works for the city manager's office, who's also here to take questions and kind of just facilitate future communications.
It's probably run walk around with our person. We want to make sure we use nice things. So numbers so as long as you're going to be going out something that Jason talked about is kind of the right biggest schedule. But we want to make sure we give you information correctly and as soon as possible. So you have your email address to inform us around make sure you're including on all the
Yeah. Can everybody hear us okay without a microphone?
We have a fan that just turned on.
We'll try to project. If we need to mic up, we can, I suppose, and if you asked, we either one, but feel free to ask questions as we go along. We don't need to wait till the end. I'm hoping that we're going to go through a short presentation, a quick slide deck that goes through the little bit of the history of the project, where we're at with the project, what you can expect to see coming up this as early as this fall. So, and then following that, it's just a kind of a open forum, question and answer, conversation period. So we're here as long as anybody wants to engage and ask questions. So with that, let's move to we'll kind of talk to our agenda this evening. So again, Tim's going to do a little bit on our kind of project background. I'll talk through a high level project timeline, kind of where we're at today versus when we hope to open the facility end of 2028. I got a site plan that kind of indicates how everything is laying out on the site, where you enter the site, where all the buildings are, what's inside the buildings, and where they are relative to where some of you may live if you live on the boundaries of the site. We've got some concept renderings that kind of give you a feel for what the size and scale of the project that you can expect to see start construction here next year. Then we'll talk through just the things that I know they're going to. Things like noise and dust and traffic, all those things that I'm sure you're concerned about and want some information on. Derek will kind of walk through some of that and this sequence of events that we get this fall, September, when we're starting to start seeing some activity out there. So, with that, let's move to the next slide. And Tim, take it away.
All right, thanks, Jason. So I've been with the City of Vancouver for 30 years. And the operations center was purchased in 1978, so it's coming close to 50 years old for the city.
So I've been there more than over half of the life of the building we've had. So I've seen a lot of growth and seen a lot of things around with the building. So I have a lot of history with that. The building was purchased in 1978 from Clark PUD. They originally built that in 1950. So the building is very old. It doesn't meet seismic codes. I think we did an assessment about 10 years ago on buildings in Vancouver, and operations was number 3 rated worst seismic building in the city. So if we have a major emergency or major earthquake, it's probably likely to be collapsed. The other 2 were fire stations. Both of those have been replaced since that study was done. So we are now the highest risk of collapsing during an earthquake. So with that, in 1978, City of Vancouver was roughly 40,000 people. I think the cutoff, there you correct me, was right around Andreessen Road was the cutoff. East of that was unincorporated. Vancouver was west of that. We are presently about 200,000 people. We go clear out past 192nd Avenue East, and we go up the Port Plain and beyond, then we're out in the city with our boundaries. So you can imagine the growth of our department as well. When operations was purchased, we had about 40 people there. We now have over 200 people reporting to the operations center in Vancouver. So we're not only back to the gills, parking's an issue, equipment parking's an issue, the buildings are an issue, everything. So we've been talking about rebuilding operations that I recall since about 2005, and we actually had purchased a separate property out in East Vancouver, and we're going to do a separate operations center and rebuild the one we're currently at. Great recession hit, but feel right to spend that money during the recession. The project kind of died on the vine. And back in about 2015, we started revisiting the need for an operations center. With that, in the conversations, we realized that East Vancouver is pretty much built out, and our expansion for services is going to be north and not as much east as it was at that time. So one of the conversations was, well, where do we get a piece of property? Initially, we're like, let's build here at our operations center on Goodwill Anderson and Fort Plain. We did the program study in 2016, I think. It came out, we're on 16 acres there. It came out that we need 26 acres. So we're like, well, that means vertical. That means parking structures. That means office complex vertical, all the different things. Vertical parking structures and things are very expensive. So we started talking about what can we do. Another issue with that site was the possibility of an earthquake. That soil is going to liquefy. Water table is very high there. So it's going to be very expensive to bring it up to earthquake codes to make it a sustainable building for an earthquake. So we started talking about how do we find 26 acres that we need, which is what the planning showed in the city of Vancouver. And I mean, we looked everywhere. I talked to a few different properties, possibility. They were sold before we got to them. And the conversation came up about the Lightner landfill property that the county owns. It had already been master planned by the county for light industrial use. And our public works director at the time thought that would be a perfect site for new operations. Not only helps with our annexation north, it's centrally located east and west, and easy access to Patton, easy access to 205, et cetera, for our vehicles and commuting, et cetera. And fit the need of, it's 32 acres, I believe. So fit the need of the size and scope that we needed to build the new operations. So at that point, that's where a deal was made in the city of the county purchased that property. And that's where we started the master planning on that site, which brings us to where we're at today.
Any questions about any of that so far? Again,
This is county property. How is the city able to come in and that's county property for your business?
I guess, understand the question. We purchased the property. It's in our sewer water boundary. We already have sewer and water services out there. So through council action and discussions with city manager and council, we felt like future annexations, whenever those happen, could be 20 years down the road or whatever. But likely that's the area that's going to be annexed first. It makes sense to kind of build in that area where we're already providing services and for future growth, we can provide services down there.
So I'm hearing that it's annexed, is that what I'm hearing?
Currently, that piece of property is the city annexed property.
So is the city intending to annex the rest of this? Because that has significant ramifications.
Not at this time. I don't know of any discussions annex those areas.
Okay, so what will property taxes, if any, how will property taxes be affected by this? By this?
Are you all aware that off of 88th Street, there are 2 townhome subdivisions going in? There's gonna be 400 additional cars daily going through that intersection on 94th Avenue and 88th.
I'm not aware of that.
Surprise, surprise. All right. One is right across the street on the corner where the yellow house is, right down the road. They're gonna put 98 townhomes there. And then right up the road, where there's a White House they're gonna knock down, they're gonna put in close to 86 townhomes. All the way to within 17 feet of Curtin Creek wetlands. Now, parking is a 1.5 spaces per townhouse. I don't know any townhouse that is affordable housing that has 1.5 cars. All right, and no street parking, narrow streets, but it's gonna be close to 400 cars, additional cars coming through that intersection, so you all need to plan on that. That is not gonna be an easy intersection, and neither is Patton Parkway and 94th, once those 400 additional cars hit the road. And you all need to know that going in.
Yeah, I know we are doing traffic studies, at least for our own project, and trip generations, and certainly there will be a controlled intersection at our entry point, slightly to our projects. I'll talk about that on the site plan. We don't know if that's gonna be a roundabout, we don't know if that's gonna be a street light. We are working with the county in terms of determining what is the best solution for that, but there will be intersection control, or at least at our.
Please communicate with the county that us residents are pissed. I think that's a general, easy way of saying it, and I think I'm being kind with that comment.
That's it. Well, I'll get to it.
Okay, thank you. I'm very concerned about the traffic, because obviously you guys know it's gonna be a problem, because you're putting in some in order for your trucks and all your traffic to be getting in and out. We live right here. We already have trouble. We have one exit. Something catches on fire here, we're just screwed. There, 86 and 94, we can hardly get out, especially during bad traffic time. So what's the plan? What's the plan?
Since they fixed the road. I've been here since around 80's my dad. And they fixed the road and it's still terrible, like she said, you can't get out.
Yeah.
This is a horrible plan.
And during rush hour, there's great backup right now as it is to try to cross the Paddings Expressway.
I know.
Yeah, on 86. Pedestrians, I mean, they're out of luck, it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
As it is, I live up 86 here towards the end of it. It can take me 7 minutes to get out of my, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm not just making up numbers. It can take me up to 7 minutes, usual at least 4, to get out onto 94. That's not during the school year when it backs up to the bus. During the school year, it can get double.
And then you get seniors, assisted living, that are at risk, and I mean, it is really an unsafe area there at 94th and that, and that worries me all the time to see that, especially, like I said, for pedestrians, it's really bad as a driver. But pedestrians and bicycles, people and scooters, people, I mean, I really want to walk and bike, and half the time, I feel like I have to drive somewhere to go walk.
Yeah.
And get on my bike. You know, come on, I moved here, so Bill will do that. So anyway, I'll let Bill.
One of the things too, since you guys, or since they put the roundabouts in, traffic in the 94th is probably quadrupled.
Yeah.
Yeah, since they put that roundabout in and that right for.
Yeah, it's terrible. Davis.
Plus, right across the way here, there's a abandoned lot, they're building cottage homes. So. Just lots of property, and that backs up right up to your lot or whatever it is.
So I should have prefaced when I started, I'm not gonna have all the answers to all your questions tonight. I'm glad to hear all the feedback. William's taking some good notes for us. So as we are still early in design and we are still doing traffic studies and intersection studies. And I know that our traffic engineers and the county is all aware of the other things that are going on around our site. So
Poor job every year.
Here, right.
Yeah. Like this.
You can't assume the county knows what the right hand and left hand are doing, all right? They do not communicate, they don't coordinate the plans, the approval of permits. So those two properties that I'm referencing to, I doubt whether they know about both of them together. All right? I think it's, you go in and it's the land of, we see no evil, hear no evil, where's our rubber stamp? Is that, do you all agree? Yeah. So we're just saying this, so it's on record. Is it on record? Marilee, is it on
it's being
record?
recorded.
It's being recorded.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Appreciate it.
One question back to the gentleman here. How many vehicles or how many persons will that add to the daily traffic?
Are you talking about employees?
Yes.
Employee count? Presently, we have about 220 employees that will be reporting to the site.
Plus, you'll have equipment stored there.
Yes.
So during any kind of, anything, you might have equipment.
We're typically 6:30 to, that's when they start. By the time they leave the yard, it's usually about 7 o'clock, till typically 4:30.
So you're gonna have trucks going back and forth all day long on 94th, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, when they go out in the field, they're not typically coming back. Right when they go to work and they come back toward the end of shift, so.
Tim, does that number include admins, like people that work on site?
That's right, yes.
Okay, so let's keep going. We'll continue to take questions. One more?
I apologize.
No, don't worry.
In late, I already, I
That's
made
okay.
a question. Why is the city building in the county?
Yeah, he explained.
You missed that part.
Yeah, I missed that part.
Yeah. Let's preamble.
Yes, they needed the space.
So they took, there's no place in.
Well, inside the city limits, trying to find a 30-acre parcel that's zone light industrial is, they're too expensive.
There's not- there's not high bills.
I have a quick general question about the property. We were originally told that part of it would be made into a park. Is there any land available after you guys lay out your stuff, that will be made into a park? Do you know anything?
I've not heard anything about the parcel that we purchased that was ever gonna be dedicated to be made a park. I have heard the Leichner landfill, when that's all decommissioned. I've heard from folks in the county that future plans, long time down the road, that could become something there, but that's gonna take a while for the decommissioning of the landfill.
Judy, call me.
Yeah.
Back to the showing again. When did you say the project should be completed?
28.
We have 3 years.
End of 28, right?
Yeah, fall of 2028.
I've been in my house since 1995, but up against that field. And I've seen hardly any people till about 2 weeks ago, other than when the grass gets too tall and they get people watering and mowing the lawn. So the shame, I don't want this kind of structure in the neighborhood residential area. It's a shame. And I heard Art also, over many years, I've been there since 95, so that's a long time. I paid a lot of property taxes, it goes up, 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 up. Now you guys putting in something that I don't want in our neighborhood, this family's surrounded, we don't need that crap here. The other property, I'm sure that.
I will say that the county had master planned that for industrial use. They had a site plan developed for it, which was gonna be similar to what we're using it for. So nothing we're putting in there is new to what they were planning on originally.
Nobody's really invested in a methane burn out there. Yeah, that big tower that's been burning for
Since
30 years. We've been there for 30 years. Yeah.
The fire station, yeah.
So, I mean, how do you build on top of all that?
the building, the whole other thing,
That's outside of our property, so we're not testing it at all. That's,
the building, the whole kind of.
And then,
and that'll still continue to operate how it does, wear off.
and I'm sure you're gonna cover how, because I've heard stories that you're gonna fill that up with dirt, put pylons in, so it's level with the east side. For different stories, where you build it down in the pool.
And great years.
Yeah, what, probably talking more about the retaining walls. There are plans for retaining walls on the north end of the site where the grade is steeper. The majority of the structures are down at the lower level.
How tall,
Retaining walls,
how tall is your building's gonna be?
They're two-story buildings, probably,
60, 50 feet?
yeah, probably at least 36, probably closer to 40, 45. I have those drawings for me. At least, there's two buildings there, two buildings there, that size, the rest are single story.
So there's not gonna be a retaining wall on the east side?
no, it's all along the north and it kind of tapers off into the northeast corner.
When we get to the site plan, maybe we can talk a bit more about.
Yeah, I got it. I do.
Yeah, and it's totally fine. Jump in with questions whenever, so. So just a high level timeline of what, so we're kind of right here. Design is kind of ongoing now. We're wrapping up kind of what we call schematic design, just kind of conceptual design phase. Design goes through next September. At that point, we get permits, we come out here and we start the bulk of the construction, the actual structure construction will start next fall, next September's current plan. Backing up from there, we've got some early site packages that are gonna start construction this time. In the earliest, I think, mid-September, we are starting with some, a heavy buffer of trees and landscaping along the south and east property. So if you live on the boundary there, that's gonna be not like that. We're gonna be adding a lot more trees and visual and acoustical buffers is the idea. So we'll be sliding the fence,
On the east side, you said?
south and east fence.
Not on the east side.
Yeah.
So right one corner, right outside where that's.
Yeah.
Sort of the same.
Okay,
Can you zoom that at all?
I think it's zoomed as much as it can zoom.
So you're saying we can expect to start meetings in September?
No,
So where the construction.
We might be able to make it clearer a little bit.
that's coming late. Can we put a pin in that and we get a little bit later in the presentation? We'll talk about that.
Sure.
I just wanted to kind of walk through how the site plan is currently laying out, so you understand kind of where things are, what it's gonna ultimately kind of look like. So 94th is here. So we've got the primary entrance to the site is on the southwest corner. We do have not really an entry, but an exit point. It's gonna be over the northwest corner for some of those larger rigs, I think that right in and right out. So we've got a small parking lot as you come in, that's gonna be visitor parking, we've got a pay window for those that want to engage that way. A larger employee visitor parking lot that's gonna be on that south boundary. As you can see, lots of new trees will be planted on this property, which is intentional. To the north of that is these are the two-story buildings that I referenced, and I'll show you a kind of picture of what they look like.
What kind of trees,
What's that?
what kind of trees are you planting?
mostly evergreens around the perimeter, Sitka spruce, Willamette Valley, ponderosa, Doug fir.
Others leaves.
I think there are some maple,
Does that
planned as well.
the wind? So it's,
Beautiful trees.
it's.
I know a lot of them are evergreen, but I think there are some deciduous trees mixed in there as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you that they're all evergreen. but a lot of them are.
Okay, who's gonna be responsible for maintaining those? When they plant trees, they never come by and water, they never come by and weed, it's a total mess. So we look at, on the highway here, 500.
Yeah,
We mow it.
I mean, I can tell you that we will be maintaining and watering throughout construction. We're gonna install temporary irrigation, obviously to water the trees. I would expect that the city's gonna maintain it once they have it.
Our maintenance crews will maintain that. We've got our grounds maintenance, maintain parks, right of ways, things. And we also have our division, that's the farms, oil, other rough mowing stuff, so we have.
Be nice if it doesn't look terrible.
Pardon me.
Be nice if it doesn't look terrible, because you're right.
Public access, public. They wanted to talk to you guys, if you come in and say, hey, you guys, your trees are dying, we'll do something about that, or I call the operation center, they have report. But you're probably just sitting right, county.
Yeah, again, we've got water sewer services out in this area.
Yeah.
So of course, they'll pay that for links with our water sewer or, questions on that. Certainly we're open for walk-ins or we'll be open for walk-ins or going in like you do now or online.
Are you different from the county operation?
Pardon me?
Are you different from the county operation? You are, okay.
So I started to say, these two buildings are two-story structures with, fleet parking and shops and things at the lower level, and then the upper floor of those two buildings, mostly administrative office space, like that. We do have a big public meeting room, that's a leasable or rentable public meeting room that will be in building A. This is a single-story structure that's really only housing vehicles and some shop space, so fully enclosed, not covered parking, fully enclosed parking. Some of the bigger, more expensive vehicles that we're going to protect. Up here is going to be all of the kind of the salt, rock, gravel, asphalt, all that kind of stuff that they're loading and unloading with loaders. So that was intentionally located that way, the northern part of the site, just because it's probably the noisiest part of what's happening in campus. So that was a strategic location for that. Vehicle wash, filling station. This would be the warehouse that would be centrally located around property. And this over here is our fleet maintenance shop. We take care of all the city vehicles, fire trucks, police cars, all that kind of noise.
Lots of freaking noise.
So, currently, which management has a grandfathered in, they work 6 nights a week, all through the night, maintaining their, that without your maintenance building, that would just be a 6:30 to 4:30 department.
The fleet services, we do have a swing shift crew that overlaps.
So how does that work? Is that, you're not grandfathered into anything, how are you gonna be able to have a swing shift with Wisconsin?
Right next to our houses.
Yeah, right next to the house, my bedroom is right there, next to that building.
I don't want to listen to that.
So how do you, we've had to deal with it for years with waste management, and
That's clear over there.
they're way over there. But that's right there, and they can work all night long, that doesn't work. After that, that's residential, after that. You can have it.
So we're probably 100 feet off the property line there.
Yeah,
It's fully enclosed.
that's all residential. All. On the south side and on the east side, it's all residential, so how can you have a facility that's gonna be more adjustable, through the. That doesn't make sense on the residential. Like I said, waste management was grandfathered in, which I still don't agree with that. Seems like the house was first, but they put that building right there, that's just gonna be insane.
That's gonna bring our property value down too. Who wants to live next to a mechanic shop?
That's okay.
I just have to ask another question, kind of added in there, something about salt, gravel, does that mean during storms? That's gonna be an access point for plows and such?
That's correct.
Okay, so, oh. Wow,
Okay, emergencies and snowstorms, windstorms.
yes.
Yeah, we
Storms,
respond.
we're not going to plows.
Yeah, for-
Go have like gravel with salt and by the way.
I will say anecdotally about The point is, we're presently located in a neighborhood. We have a lot of residential housing right around us. Like I said, I've been there 30 years. We have good relationships with the neighborhood. I get very few. I was thinking on the way here. Well, maybe five in the last 20 years, maybe. So we don't get a ton.
Please still do this.
So
What about the wear and tear of those with the heavier vehicles, shutting the counter? We're seeing it now.
well, they're county roads. Yeah.
So the county is still gonna maintain the maintenance on this road, but you guys could be driving equipment on it?
So you will be paying, the county will bill you for all road repair. I like that. Right.
We pay property taxes and other taxes, just like any other business would. So that, like I said, that was light industrial. It could have had a lot of truck traffic, a lot of different traffic coming in.
But then we can talk to the county, not the city.
That's correct. Yes.
One question I have is, about light mitigation. I don't want the neighbors to order there, just have lights on their yards, their windows all the time. What are you going to do to make sure that doesn't happen?
Yeah, all of our site lighting will have direct cutoff, so it'll go down. The idea is that no foot candles will go out. Kind of industry standard, if you will. So you're not gonna see big bright light bulbs up in the parking lot, so it's all shaded from there.
Okay.
LED lights.
I have another concern. Back in 6/15, all the way up to 5/21, so 6 years, there's vibration because that's power. And the louvers were bad and electric. And I used to call the city 1,000 times. And they would send people out and say, no, your house is shaking in pieces, it's on your head. What it came down to is back then, after 5 years of constantly being in the city, I finally had my wife and I got a petition and we walked the entire boundary that then we had. I don't know if any of you neighbors signed it, but we had signatures proving that their house is really shaking to pieces because the ground there is unstable because of all the years of the old pump site. So what's gonna happen to our houses? Because I know the heavy equipment that comes in, home foot's gonna be right there, at our back door. And I recommend everybody, if this does go through and it does start happening, that you videotape your house inside. Your ceilings, your walls, because they'll start cracking.
Yeah, please do, certainly, if there's any damage that was caused by construction, obviously.
So there's gonna be, it was bad with nothing. It was bad with nothing.
I'm not aware of what the structure you're talking about.
You know that power that constantly burns, right? I went to it, it's like,
The whole land.
that tower right there constantly burns. And it got defective, and it was defective for 6 years, or 15 months, yeah, 6 years. And it was the louvers, it has louvers on, and it's, if you look at that tower, to this day, it never stops burning. It's probably a 20-foot tall tower, this big around, and it's always burning. It's burning up all the methane that's for 30 years that I know of, probably longer. I don't know when they stopped the dumpster. And they had so many problems with just those louvers vibrating that it would shake the entire, all the houses back, really bad. Like our dishes would shake, our walls would shake. You couldn't even be out the backyard, it would hurt your head. So when they start bringing in those big old machines that vibrate, back soil and all that house, that's gonna be horrible.
Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit, when we get into the actual site construction activities. We're gonna go to the next slide there, so I'm just gonna flip through some conceptual images of what this thing could and might look like. These are early conceptual images, so some of the stuff we're seeing here might look like the park is probably not gonna be built just like that. We are gonna do a multimodal path out there for bike lanes and things like that, but, so these are the two well, two-story structures I referenced earlier. This is where public would, engage if they needed to come into the.
Just for reference, where's 94th Avenue?
Here.
Okay, thank you.
I've looked at the next one.
So you're not gated in, it's just open.
Well, I'm sorry,
Is there gates or like fences?
it will be fenced.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is looking from 94th to the property. So. This is in between those two-story structures, just to give you an idea of scale. There's some covered walkways that go between the two, or breezeways that said to go between the two buildings, just for safety. The next one. This is that is the fleet shop. That's the fleet shop, right? That's warehouse. This is fleet. Okay. Really similar. Then our fueling and wash stations here. So just to give you an idea of what those structures are going to look like.
All right, so I'm going to talk about some of our upcoming early work, and maybe you want to address your question first, because I think you were starting to ask about construction traffic
Yes.
in the fall. I mean, it's going to be pretty light initially. We're going to have maybe 3, maybe 4 crews on site as we start off, and it's going to be smaller crews. We're going to be starting with tree planting and irrigation around the border, around the south and the east. We do have a geo-exchange field down here at the south end of the site, and that does entail drilling for that geo-exchange field. It's about 196 bores, 400 feet down. We do have retaining walls, which we kind of touched on up here at the north site boundary, and they do kind of taper off into this corner here. This area here, these are currently planned to be soldier pile retaining walls. Hopefully they are a little further away from the residences, being up at the north end of the site. So a little bit about the schedule. This fall is going to be, setting up erosion control, construction entrances. We'll start planting and irrigating likely September, October. Some fence improvements around the site. And then we'll be getting into some light earthwork. We don't want to open up the site any more than we have to do this early work. So we're going to try and limit that, to the geo-exchange field and then the retaining walls up the north end of the site, which is kind of localized work rather than opening up the whole site. We are going to build some haul roads now, just so we have site access. That's basically building gravel roads throughout the site. So not a huge amount of construction traffic anticipated early on, but of course it's going to grow as we get into, the bulk of construction starting in the fall of 26.
How far away are you gonna be from their houses?
Your houses I'm taking are kind of up here.
Here's my house, like right dead center.
So the closest work we probably have is these retaining walls that I can't tell exactly where they end here.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. That side is basically where the landfill got filled. I never really got filled, right?
So that's probably some of the closest work. I think Fleet Services building is also over here.
Yeah.
So we, obviously we'd be constructing that building as well, and then hardscapes throughout and landscaping. I mean, there's not a lot of building on the perimeter of the site other than fencing and the retaining walls and then the planting. There is a pretty good street veil to try and establish some privacy.
Right. Like I said earlier, though, where that tower is that burns constantly.
Yeah.
That was shaving our houses to pieces, all that greenwood. So I couldn't imagine when you do that fleet site building right there. I couldn't even imagine what that's gonna do.
So
I'm sorry, one more thing, no one's addressed wildlife in there.
Yeah.
Behind it, we have resident deer,
Yeah.
we have bald eagle, we have the Canadian goose, I have.
The coyotes.
Coyotes.
Yeah, coyotes, that's good out there.
I think you'll find they'll come back. I mean, to be honest, I just built So I just built the school out at the coast amongst the elk. And yes, we built amongst the herd of elk. And they came back and destroyed the trees. I mean, it did not push them off. This is gonna be honestly, a pretty wooded perimeter. When it's done, there's gonna be more vegetation when it's done than there is now. I mean, I can't tell you exactly what's gonna happen with wildlife, obviously, but
Oh, Patton pushed them that way because we lived next to a field before, and then when Patton came, we all the wildlife was that way. Now you're gonna push them somewhere else, where they're supposed to live. My goodness.
Just for the record, I speak for all of us. There's nothing against any of you. You guys are just representatives. And Derek, I worked with you
I
before.
was gonna say, you look familiar.
I'm
PTA.
retired from mechanical, so you
Oh,
can't,
Heinz.
you can't pick on them. I don't work.
Okay.
Well, I'm retired.
Okay,
But, great guy to work for. I would vouch for Derek.
thank you.
He's a great person. So.
Hey, I'm busy. I'm busy.
For you guys, just to understand. We're not here to be, bullies.
We're gonna make Derek seems like.
Yeah.
I as well, I am gonna live here for a couple of years. I'm gonna spend more time here than I am in my home.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
So I want to speak to vibration a little bit. I feel like based on what I'm hearing, we probably want to put vibration monitors around the site. I can tell you I'm working up at OHSU right now, and vibration to ORs and emergency departments is incredibly impactful.
Yes.
And we're building a 14-story tower in the middle of that campus and not impacting ORs.
Yeah.
So I think we can figure out how to do it. We're gonna have to think about some different means and methods, because you're right, the vibratory rollers, those things really rock.
Yeah, those are my concern. I didn't know how.
But I think vibration monitors are a good idea. If we find that we are causing too much vibration, we need to think about a different way to do something.
What are the decibel limits gonna be, since you're putting that shot so close to our house? What's the limit for the county?
Very good. Talking about for construction or operations?
When there's servicing vehicles working on
They
it.
got their air guns, switch your wheels off,
Swing shift at night,
which we deal with right now. Using waste.
I will limit on swing shift at midnight, am I gonna be going over knocking on the door?
I mean, we don't know.
I don't know, I know there are city statutes around that, I don't know, I don't have that off the top of my head, I can get back to your coordinator and stuff with that information. I know we have a police engineer as part of our team that is doing sound studies of the existing campus and projecting to the new campus. So we'll record that and I'll get that back to the top. Yeah. But
I've heard rumors that they want to punch through 94th on the opposite way south. Sorry, my. Pass the letters out.
Where? Where?
Short word 94th.
94th this year.
Yeah, it's always right scatter.
It's that way, yeah.
But they want to push.
Adam, stop.
Okay, so the other side, so take 94th, yes, that way. They want to push that, they want to push through this beautiful farmland there, but I have heard that they wanted.
That's not part of the project.
I don't know.
They don't have any. It's not part of the project.
No.
Let's move on. Yeah.
So, yeah, let me, I guess, just finish kind of talking through the sequence here. Retaining walls and excavation, again, that's gonna be localized excavation, fall, and likely starting retaining walls in late December of 25. Geo-exchange boring fields, that's this area down here in the southwest corner, is planning to start in April 26th. And then aggregate piers is potentially April of 26, but maybe a little later, but it's gonna be sometime between April and over the summer. So next slide. Talking about how we can mitigate impacts to you all during construction. So you know, the thought is just planting the trees early is gonna create that buffer early and give those trees more time to establish. And at least establish a visual barrier and maybe help with acoustics. The fencing improvements and upgrades, those are intended, again, to create visual barriers for the residents. And the new development. Dust control, I promise we're not gonna have visible dust floating up in the air. I mean, we're gonna be very on top of our erosion control, making sure that the site is well maintained and managed. Water trucks, when it dries out, typically we don't need that in the winter, but yes, as soon as we get into the drier season, we'll make sure that we're keeping things down and we're not creating dust. We're gonna limit heavy equipment idling and, you know, as best as possible, stay away from the borders for the perimeter. There is some work that we have to do closer to the perimeter, the retaining walls being some of that, and then the geo-exchange field. Work times and hours, typically gonna be Monday through Friday, 7 to 3:30. There's likely gonna be occasions where we have to work a longer day. Obviously, in the wintertime, we're bound by daylight. I mean, it's dark and it doesn't get light until 7 and it's dark at 4:30. So we're likely gonna be 7 to 3:30. Maybe that stretches to 5:30 as the days get longer. It's not uncommon that we end up working Saturdays. We're gonna try and limit that and not, you know, bother you guys on your weekends. And then we're definitely gonna talk to our craft and make sure they understand that they're in a residential area and to be respectful and they're, you know, and if we find out that anybody is not being respectful as they're driving through the residential areas coming to our site, we're gonna make sure that they're reprimanded, and if they keep doing it, they're gonna leave the project and won't come back. Yes, so we're gonna have contact information here. We're likely gonna post contact information on signage as well, so you can contact somebody with the city.
The city will have full-time inspectors on site, you know, all day, every day, and that'll be your direct line of communication to, if there's concerns about, you know, damage or rattling, or whatever the case may be, you'll have a phone number to call. And you can address it as quickly as you can.
So the notice of this meeting was very limited in where it was spread. So will information like that, postcards and whatnot, go further out into the neighborhoods? Because I didn't receive information on this, but this one impacted my house.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we made an error in judgment in terms of the radius we set it out to for this particular meeting, but clearly in here, we need to expand the radius in the future. I know that they put it on the neighborhood website.
We can put it out to the full neighborhood boundaries.
I hear you. So it sounds like we have plenty here, people here that didn't get it, just got the word out, so, yeah.
I think what we said, they're going to first for 120.
12, we sent it to a 1,200-foot radius around the site, so try to encapsulate those that are gonna be the most impacted.
Oh, what about who's on 91st Street? I'm down the other end. Right,
Yeah, understood.
I
Make sure that we expand that radius going forward.
When it's all said and done, how many large vehicles will be using that site? City's grown. This is your maintenance, everything.
Yes.
Because I know the site you were on before is on Fourth Lane. And I don't know how you sit there for so long. But I just want to know how many big vehicles and service vehicles are we talking about? It will be, quote, living there and being serviced there and going up and down the street.
So vehicles larger than a pickup truck?
All of them, all the vehicles. People working there, people coming and going.
employees.
Yes.
Also,
How many people are going to be, that are working there? All day, every day.
200.
Well,
You say
that's got to be roughly 200. I don't know how many vehicles you really have. Don't get that off the top of your head, but
I want to say the operations was like 400 they're not all in and out at the same time. Two
No.
trailers, some days, a lot of staff ride together in a truck, go out and do a job together. So, I mean, that's the total number of fleet vehicles we have currently at operations. So I wouldn't expect to give a vehicle number. Sounds like a lot, but it's not that much, not nearly that much going out on it.
We have a traffic issue.
Yeah.
I know you have a big traffic issue without you being here. And I'm not talking about construction, because construction is a finite time. And then you're gonna be there if you are at this site, as long as you have been at the other side. Nobody in this room is gonna be alive anymore. So I want to know what the traffic impact is going to be. And this street back here behind us, 86, there's one way in and one way out.
For the entire neighborhood.
Yes, for the entire neighborhood.
And I like it that.
I don't.
I do.
I get tired of sitting there waiting, watching the school buses and everything
Yeah,
else.
well, if you try to get out on the 107th, you'd say the same thing. I have waited there for 28 minutes one day to get out on the 107th.
Well, that's the point.
So I know if they punch any more roads through, you'll have to get out for an hour.
We just want a stoplight. We just want our.
A roundabout, so we can.
There definitely will be one or two things
Right, yeah.
at the property entrance to our property, that south end of the property near 88 or 86.
But I don't think we're. Yeah, but this is 86 behind us here, that feeds all of us. And you sit there and you can't get out. And so you're just going to be one driveway up. And that's gonna have that many more people coming and going. And so we have to sit there. Now, if the city or the county doesn't want to do anything, so you're gonna have to lean on them for us.
Well, I'm telling you, we are going to do something, whether it's a traffic light or a roundabout.
I
One
don't
of those two
think
things
you
are
can do a
gonna happen.
traffic light if it's close at. And it's too close to traffic light to go on adventure.
I think she's talking about the street.
Yeah.
Here, from not our entrance. Not our, oh, okay, between Pat and our entrance, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Between Patton and your entrance and Patton and 86.
Because you're talking about doing something for your entrance.
Just for our
Makes sense.
entrance, which will,
But,
and
but
a
you're
stoplight,
still impacting. the rest of the traffic.
stoplight would create gaps, you know.
Yeah. It would, but I just don't think, I don't think a stoplight would do it.
The problem is with 94th and 86, especially during the school year, traffic access, we had keep the traffic system on 90. Already.
Already.
And it does the same thing on 107th, so that's not gonna help you to go that way because 107th.
Well, that's not an answer. Going to 107 was right by the school. Not eight. Right.
But no, that didn't, long time.
And
I don't,
that's not.
No, we need to be able to get us out of our neighborhood.
yeah, we just want to get out of the neighborhood or into the.
And there, you guys might not be aware because your city, in our neighborhood, there are several small businesses, home-based businesses.
Hey, I'm the quiet facilitator here. I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I am the neighborhood program facilitator for the county, for Clark County. So I'm here running the equipment. You have a lovely lady that is here, that's partnered with her husband, Judy Bumbarger Enright, and her husband, Dan Enright, that runs Sunnyside Neighborhood Association tirelessly for many years for this neighborhood. This project that is here that's happening is one project. It's a very large project, but it's one project off of 94th. And how these projects work is they will only be able to address whatever is as a nexus, whatever is absolutely a nexus to their project. They won't be able to address the cottages and the 88th Street apartments and the townhouses. They aren't going to address all these other things that are backed up. I see a lot of people that are in this room that I have not seen at Judy's other meetings. And I would encourage you, if you receive a postcard, come to Judy's meetings so that we can get your voice on the other projects and we can get some more voices about the other intersections that we need to have some voices on and get some more lights and roundabouts and different, we're gonna need some other solutions at other intersections other than just this one intersection.
Okay, so this is just about this construction.
Yeah.
Yes, this particular meeting is only about, this project. But Judy has meetings all the time about, everything that's in this whole Sunnyside boundary. So,
We can't be building, have regional, this project's bringing this traffic, this project's bringing this traffic, this project's bringing this. I mean, you're not, holistic growth.
Yeah.
So you can't, otherwise your project will be done, just push the problem on to the next project. That's not okay.
yeah,
Okay.
But we're talking about 86 to 88. Is that where you figure your driveway is gonna be? You're not gonna get any closer for the next project than this one.
right, but that's where they'll address. They will address that intersection.
That's this intersection.
Correct.
86.
80. Yeah.
They're gonna make it work for their project.
Right.
Their cars. They don't care about what you guys are saying about how you get out to talk to this project. They're gonna make it work for their trucks and stuff. They'll make lights and stuff for them. But they're not really hearing us.
But they're not gonna be able to get out.
They're gonna make it work. They're gonna put lights for their project.
Right.
They'll give it to the city or county to do what they want to make their project work.
Well, then the state's gonna scream about patents.
They're gonna make their project work.
Barely just.
Mayor, what district is this one? Town council member that serves this area. Michelle, it sounds as if staff could do that sub-area plan for this particular road. And at the next neighborhood association meeting or the September meeting, October meeting, whenever the neighborhood meets again, staff who are planning can bring that information and look at this holistically so that the road planners can answer many of these questions, whether it's
About the area, correct.
exactly. So.
And then we could get rid of the road planners then about more of the area.
Planners here and the county councilor can be here to help facilitate that conversation.
Yes, and I believe it is Michelle Belcott for that.
And
So
we
the
are,
planners and the road planners need to be out here having these conversations about future development along this road and their plans.
Yes, and we did have one meeting where they did come out and it was a very good meeting.
How many of you would actually come to a meeting if we had the road planners for this area?
If I knew about it,
Well, how
I
do
knew
you,
about one 10 years ago when they tried to build here. And we
the
came
way
here
you
just
learn
very
about
short.
it is you get on my mailing.
I'm on your email now.
Great.
I would like to say
Also-
something to you.
Also, that the postcards are sent out a few weeks before, well, hopefully, a couple of weeks before our next meeting. Everyone here gets one, or everyone in the Sunnyside Neighborhood Association and boundaries gets that postcard. So either you read it and come to a meeting, or you read it, and don't come, or you throw it in the garbage and not read it. So that's how you find out.
But we're in a different association right here in this neighborhood.
Well, because Judy and I work together, I'm certain Creek Neighborhood Association.
Are you in the?
And so we might overlap a little bit here in this area, but we could work together and getting the meeting together where we can get both associations here and talk about it, because this is a county issue.
Yeah.
And we are allowed to bring in anybody you guys want to talk to. And the counselor would be a great person, Harrison on the planning department would be a great person. There's a lot of people we can bring in and talk about the situation, because it is bad. I understand that. And I mean, I feel really bad for you guys. The city, you guys should be happy, kind of, that the city is doing a nice job, because imagine, now you gotta remember, this was owned by the county
many years ago. They just sold it to them. And you could have another developer that won't even talk to you. I don't know if you guys remember about the Curtin Creek where we found had a concrete plant. So there are things, you know, we should be grateful that you guys have these people to talk to and have that, but your biggest gripe should be with the county, and you need to be educated with the county. Norris. Well, not, we can make sure that they don't. Judy's really good at that.
Completely against the.
Yeah, we're.
Hello.
We know.
So you said.
And we're on it, and then we're on yours.
I'm Jan Kelly, and I'm the president of the Friends of Central Vancouver. All right, I feel like I'm at a meeting. All right. This is what you all have to remember. Your letters to the county matter. Your letters to the newspapers matter. And you know what? You all need to get busy on your computers and write letters. And object about the traffic. And there's a meeting tomorrow night, web meeting, about one of those developments. How many of you are gonna be at that hearing online? All right. Jim McCray walked all of the neighborhoods and put out a flyer with that. You can go on the county website. It's a hearing that's gonna be tomorrow night at about, I wanna say 6. Yes, online.
It's 3 minutes to talk.
Well, it's the famous 3-minute show. That's how come I said, write letters to the county, write letters and copy everybody. And if you need a list, let me know. Jan Kelly at iCloud. I will email you the email list that will include state, county, and federal people, I believe, in mass mailings. All right? That's how we stop the concrete patch plan.
Well, we're living on a big chunk of pie.
I understand.
Now, like where I live, and our sister community, I can't remember the name of it.
When was the last time you wrote a letter to the county about that?
About what?
About the traffic?
I'm saying that we're not getting the communication that you're talking about. We didn't get this, they get the information about the meeting tomorrow. We're right now in this right now, huge community, and our sister community. We're missing a big piece of pie because we're not getting communicated to.
But you can send letters to these people before.
Okay, so let's get back on the timeline for what's gonna happen for this one.
Barely, we're paying overtime for these
Yes,
hours.
let's get back on the timeline for this.
Have you gone through all the slides?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're pretty much done. So just in terms of, so this is where we're at tonight. We intend to come back to you again right before we start construction with any, so we're taking some questions down this evening. We will follow up with facilitation. If we can get county and city transportation planners to a town hall type thing, we would love to do that. I'll do my best. So we'll get back to you with any questions we heard tonight. Like I said, I'm not gonna solve all the issues and problems with traffic tonight. But we will come back in the fall with postcards and newsletters. We'll have another round of construction that starts in the spring, as you talked about the geo exchange field and the retaining walls that start in the spring. So we'll provide updates to that in the spring and then again in the fall. We'll keep the line of communication open with information, and you'll have information to get a hold of us.
This gentleman here has a question.
And quick, just one second. Anyone who's got payment late, before you leave, also, if you'd like to receive updates, please feel free to sign this on your way out. I'll done the paperwork here.
Yes.
This is an emergency facility, basically. I've never heard anything about a size before. This soil, this area, look at 5. That's all I have to say.
Very fine, but did you want to hear about it?
No, I'm retired.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
There are some questions if you're hungry, there's still here on the back there. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm gonna close out the Zoom meeting. If you needed to type any questions in, please do them real quick. If not, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, 96.